this first paper, that is Information, Communication and Society. Okay, the paper 1 of MLISc is Information, Communication and Society. So actually, I am not teaching this subject. This is not my area of specialization, because another teacher, Dr. Yadagiri, he was teaching this course, but due to some problem, he could not handle the class this time, because he had to undergo some surgery or something. So he requested to handle the classes. So as a stopgap arrangement, so I thought I would handle this information uh, paper on information, communication and society. I'm sorry, I will switch off the phone. Okay. So there are certain subjects which are really very interesting, and you try to understand that subject, and then you can listen to it as a story, as if you are listening to a story. You can comprehend that information, and easily you can reproduce that information. And there are certain subjects which are rather, you feel that you have understood everything, you have, it is very interesting and all that, but then it comes to reproducing, that is writing in the examination, it is very difficult. So some subjects you need to by heart also, some definitions and everything you need to by heart. So this subject we are going to deal now, it falls into the second category. So but anyway, we will try to just justify and learn something, about concepts that are given in your course material.
And long length on left hand side. If you don't have blue paper, you can use white or yellow, or I mean white use shade to blue లేకపోతే ఒకవేళ వేరే లేవు blue.
What is this? Someone is taking a class.
Now take green color A4 sheet. If you don't have green color paper, use white paper. Okay? తర్వాత దాని మీద green color triangle color చేయండి. ఎవరిదైనా ఏదైనా కలర్ కోసం లేకపోతే you say two. Green paper laying on someone posted, I don't have green color paper. So what you have to do? White.
Okay. So let us start our first unit, which is on nature of information. Okay. So in our day-to-day life, we use very often, every day we'll be using these terms: information, data, knowledge, communication, so on and so forth. But how do we define these concepts? How do we understand these concepts? That we will try to understand these concepts. What is the difference between these concepts, and how do we use these concepts in technical terms? Okay. So we all know that information is a very important resource. Previously, previously people used to feel that the human progress, it is possible only by utilizing the resources that are available in the nature. That is, you have water, you have sun energy, sunlight, and then you have all these resources, the trees, agricultural produce, so on and so forth. So in olden days, people used to believe that human progress, it is possible only by using the utilization of the natural resources that are available to the human beings. So later, and then it is therefore most of the people, they depended on agricultural produce, okay, agriculture, farming practices, and then breeding cattle, so on and so forth. So then later people realized that it is not the not only natural resources are required, but it is important that the human resource and then material and money, these are crucial for the development of the society. So, and then industrial revolution has taken place, and a lot of industries were set up, and then mechanization has come into existence. So all this happened at a later stage. And then after this industrial revolution, then people, they felt that it's not only the industries which are required for the development, but it is the information that makes people powerful, that empowers the people, that gives power to the people. So if you want to communicate, do any task, okay, if you want to cook also, you should have some information on how to cook or how to prepare a particular recipe. You should have on hand, then you can make it. So anything, any task, you need some information. Only information makes you powerful. Information and knowledge, when you communicate this knowledge, you can share this knowledge, and then so it is realized that information is a very powerful resource for the development of the society. Ma'am, the mute just only. Please mute yourself. Okay, please mute participants. Please mute yourself. Otherwise, it will be disturbance to other students also. Please mute. Okay. Then how do we acquire this knowledge? అంటే నాలెడ్జ్ మనకి ఒక ముడి పదార్థము, మనకి ఒక ఇంపార్టెంట్ రిసోర్స్ అని మనం అనుకున్నాం కదా. అయితే ఈ నాలెడ్జ్ మనకి ఎలా వస్తుంది? హౌ డు వి అక్వైర్ దిస్ నాలెడ్జ్? సో యూజువల్లీ ఇట్ ఇస్ సెడ్ దట్ వి అక్వైర్ ది నాలెడ్జ్ త్రూ అబ్జర్వేషన్, perception, and apperception. What are these processes? Through observation, we learn a lot of things. See, even the child learns to imitate the elders. Okay, they observe a lot and then learn the things. And then perception is the sense organs, they observe the things, and whatever is observed, it will go into your mind. Okay, and the mind, it processes this information that is provided by your sense organs, and then it is structured in your brain. It gives a structure like this. Over the years, you accumulate a lot of information through observation and then perception. And then this whenever you acquire new information, whenever you observe something new, then it will automatically, it will be processed in your brain, and it will verify if there is some relevant information is existing in your brain, then it will add to that information. Okay, already if you have some information, some experience you have gained over the years, then this information will be added to that information, and then your knowledge grows. So it is these processes: observation, perception, and apperception. So these are the three processes which that are involved in the acquisition of knowledge. And then information. So what do you mean by information? Now let us try to define these terms. Okay, so information, what do you mean? Information. So information is derived from formation, forma. Okay, formation, that is giving a shape or a pattern. Forming a pattern is called information. Information, it means it is giving a form or a shape, or forming a pattern is information. So information, it may be a fact, it may be a data, it may be knowledge that can be used, transferred, and communicated. Information is used Information can be transferred and information can be communicated. And then any fact, for example, you take any figure also. So if I say 100 kgs, so what does that mean? 100 kgs can be anything. It can be the weight of a person. It can be the weight of a any object or anything. So it doesn't make it doesn't give any meaning. So information is any fact or data or figures or whatever it is which has some meaning, which conveys some meaning. Then we call it as information. Then information, it can be abstract. That means some concepts are there which you cannot express, which you cannot express only, like beauty, which is very beautiful. But when you try to define beauty, then you have to tell that she has long hair, she's very fair in color or something that describe. But here, information, it can be abstract, which can be only expressed through description or something. And then, or it can also be concrete. It has a definite shape. For example, a chair, a table. They have this, a definite shape to that. So information, it can be abstract, or it's a feeling, or it can be a concrete also. A material object also it can be. Okay. And then let us see some of the definitions which are given by Webster's, given by different people for the information. So Webster's Dictionary, it says that information is a process by which the form of an object of knowledge is improved upon the apprehending mind so as to bring about the status of knowing. That is, so an object, you are observing an object. Okay. When you observe an object, then that sense organ, it will take that information to your brain. Kiran, can you please mute all the participants? So the definition given by the Webster's Dictionary defines the information as a process by which the form of an object of knowledge is improved upon the apprehending mind so as to bring about the status of knowing. For example, you are observing an object. Okay, so through your sense organs, maybe it may be smell, it may be your vision, or it may be your sight. Through the different sense organs, you are observing an object. Okay, then that knowledge, that information will be processed by your mind, and the already existing knowledge, it will be modified. It will be changed. It will change the status of the existing knowledge. So the status of knowing, you become aware, you become a knowledgeable person. Once the information, you give it to the brain, then it is processed in your brain and it adds to your existing knowledge, and hence you become knowledgeable. So that is a definition given by the Webster's Dictionary. And then another scientist called Shera, he defines information is a fact. It may be a single fact or it's a cluster of facts which constitute a unit of thought. Okay? Information, it can be a single fact, a simple observation, or it can be a cluster of facts. You interrelate the facts. Your mind makes relation between these facts, and then it is represented as a single unit of thought. So when you observe something, then it may be a single fact, or it may be a collection of facts. Your mind connects these facts together, and a unit of thought comes across your mind. So that is what Shera has defined information as: a fact or a collection of facts which constitute a unit of thought. And Davis, another scientist called Davis, information scientist, he defined information as the data that has been processed and it conveys a meaning to the recipient. This is the most appropriate decision given to information. We usually say that the processed data and which conveys a meaning. Data is raw. That means it is not processed. Okay, data, it can be any figure. That is distance, it is 200 meters. So what is this distance? It doesn't convey any meaning. Whether it is 200 meters, maybe it doesn't convey any meaning. It can be 200 meters, can be the length of a this thing, or it is a distance measure. I mean, you are talking about the distance between two places, or it can be anything. So, but when it is processed and it is interpreted, then it gives a meaning, and it is called information. So data that has been processed and it conveys a meaning to the recipient. Recipient is the user who wants that information. So it should convey the meaning to the person who is seeking that information. Then it is called as data information. Now let us also see the definition given by Unicist Guide to Teachers. Unicist, it has prepared a guide for the teachers. In that, it has defined information. It is a sensible statement, opinion, fact, concept, or idea, or an association of statements, opinions, and ideas. That is, it can be a statement, it can be an opinion. That is, I'm saying one statement. Okay, this batch of MLISc students, they're very good. That is a statement which I'm making. Okay, it can be true or it can be false. Okay, that is information. So the Unisys there says that it can be any statement, it can be an opinion. I'm expressing my opinion. Okay, and it can be a fact. Okay. So this phenomena has taken place. Pandemic has created a lot of this thing to education, disturbance to education. That is, it is a fact. Okay, it has disturbed the academic year. It has disturbed the way teaching is going on. But at the same time, it has also introduced new innovations like online technologies. It has given a boost to the online technologies like that. So it can be the information, it can be a statement, it can be an opinion, it can be a fact or a concept or an association of the ideas or a cluster of, in the previous Shera's definition also we have seen that it can be a single fact or it is a cluster of facts. Here, Unisys there, it is a statement of, it is an association of statements, opinions, and ideas. There can be single opinion or a cluster of opinions, single fact or cluster of facts, like that. Okay, so after observing these definitions, what do you understand? What do you understand by these definitions? Take number one.
ಈಗ ನಾ ಇಟ್ಟಾನರೈ ಈಗ ದಾ ಏಯ್
Participants mute చేయమ్మా. వాళ్ళకి అసలు ఇవ్వకు పర్మిషన్స్, ఓపెన్ చేయడానికి అసలు ఇవ్వద్దు. Okay, so what do you understand by this definitions? So we now from these different definitions, we know that information, it can be any fact or idea, it can be an opinion, it can be a statement or a collection of these statements. Okay? This and information, it has some meaning. It is not raw like data. The processed data and which conveys a meaning to the recipient, it is called as information. So broadly, and information can be communicated, it can be shared. Okay, so these are the things so far from these definitions we are able to understand, isn't it? Emma Miro, you are paying attention or you are doing your own work? I do not know. You do whatever you like, but don't disturb the other students. Okay. Now, So having examined the definitions for information, let us now also see what is data and how data is different from information. Okay? So data, we use this term data very often in our day-to-day activities. And then data is commonly used in computer science and science experiments. When you conduct an experiment, you get some data, isn't it? So the boiling point of water is so much, and then the boiling point of milk is so much. So all the degrees, like 100 degrees, 80 degrees, or your length, width, and then all these measurements, these are all figures. All the figures you obtain, you can call it as data. Have some sense. You are making me, I'm getting disturbed. Please mute yourself. Otherwise, leave the class. ఎన్నిసార్లు చెప్పాలమ్మా? ఒక్కసారి చెప్తారు. ఎన్నిసార్లు చెప్తారా? If you don't want to listen to the class, please quit. Don't disturb others. I am not the loser. You will be the loser. ఎందుకు అసలు అటెండ్ అవుతున్నారు? Why you are attending the classes? To learn or to disturb others? ఎందుకు అటెండ్ అవుతున్నారు మీరు క్లాసెస్? If you want to learn concepts, you please concentrate. Otherwise, you may leave. Okay, so we have seen what is information. Information is processed data which conveys a meaning. We are calling it as a information. So information, it can be a statement, it can be an opinion, it can be a fact, but which can be communicated and which can be transmitted from one person to another person. So now let us see what is data and how it is different from information. So data, it is mostly used in computer sciences, science experiments, or when you conduct some, when you gather some information from different people in the society, you get some data, is it not? So suppose you are going to the field and asking the people, what is the economic status? How much do you earn per day or per month? Or what is the annual income of your family? So such kind of when you get certain information, so that we call it as data. The data, it is unprocessed.
Mummy, 11,000, 5,000 ఇంకా
Yes, go on. We are listening.
3,000.
Very good. 3,000. And then next. So data is so in computer sciences, or even in science experiments also, what is the boiling point of water? What is the boiling point of milk? So you get some degrees, okay, 80 degrees, 10, 100 degrees Celsius. 100 degrees can be your temperature of your body also. It can be, if you have fever, you may be having 100 degrees Celsius, maybe. So it doesn't convey any meaning. Data by itself, it doesn't convey any meaning. It needs to be processed. It needs to be interpreted as per the situation. Then only it conveys some meaning. Then it becomes information. So data may be defined. We can define data as raw. It is raw. Raw means it is not processed. Okay, and unevaluated. It is not evaluated, and it is unprocessed and unorganized facts. Okay, so it is the records of results of the experiments, observations, measurements, calculation made by scientists. Everything comes under the data. Okay, whatever calculations, suppose you got some 10 into 2 is 20. So that itself doesn't convey the meaning, but when you interpret it in the light of the context, then only you process that data, then it becomes information. Okay, so it is the record of the results of experiments. While doing your experiments, you get data. While observations also you get data. Measurements also are data, and then calculations made by scientists, they are also constitute data. Now, let us see what are the definitions given by different people and also the different resources. Like Websters Dictionary, it defines data as facts or principles granted or presented upon which an inference or argument is based, or from which an ideal system of any sort is constructed. Okay, so it says that these are the data are nothing but facts, or facts or figures or anything on which your study is based. For example, if I say that this batch of MLISc, they performed very well with the examinations. Okay, but what is the base for that? How I am saying that? What is the base? So the data is the base for such argument. Like if there are 200 people, and out of 200 students have enrolled in your present batch. Okay, out of this 200, some 120 people or 180 people, they got first classes. All of them, they got good percentages. Then I can say that percentage more than above 60%. Then I can say that your batch is very good. Okay, so this 60% on which my argument is based, that is my argument is your good performance is my argument. Okay, so that argument is based on the data. Okay, the data, like 80% of the class he secured more than 60%, so I say that this batch performed well in the examination. So your argument is based on certain data. So that is called as data. So facts or principles granted or presented upon which an inference or argument is based, or from which an ideal system of any sort is constructed. Hope you have understood. And then another definition is given by Schumann. He says that quantitative facts derived from experimentation, calculations, or direct observation. So these are called as data. That is the facts which are derived from, you conduct an experiment at so and so degrees of temperature, or if you add one chemical to another chemical, then a precipitate is formed. So what chemical you are adding and the other chemical, and how this precipitate is formed. So all these experimentations, so the facts that are derived from these experimentations or calculations or direct observation, this is called as data. So like this, Schumann defined data as the quantitative facts. That is, quantitative means which can be measured, which can be measured. So the quantitative facts that are derived from experimentation, calculations, or direct observations is called data. Data are the raw facts and frequently unrelated to each other, but when processed intellectually, they become information and add to knowledge. Thus, data form the basis of knowledge. ఇంతవరకు అర్థమైందా మీకు? I hope you have understood so far whatever we have discussed.
Yes, madam.
Yes, madam, understanding.
Okay, good.
Yes, madam.
Thank you. I will proceed further. Then we have so far seen what is information, what is data, and now we will see what is knowledge. Okay, so the totality of ideas, information, and principles conserved through experience is knowledge. How do you gain knowledge? through experience. You accumulate knowledge, okay, through experience. So in our day-to-day activities, we will be observing so many things. In the beginning also, we have seen the three processes that we, by observation, perception, and perception, we get a lot of knowledge, isn't it? So similarly, the total ideas, information, and principles conserved through experience will become knowledge. And Robert Hayes he defines knowledge as accumulated data which has been systematized, formulated, and evaluated with reference to discovery of general truths. This is the definition given by information scientist Robert Hayes. He says the data which is accumulated, okay, through the observation and of the senses, and it is systematized in your brain. Your system, all this information which you are observing, it will be processed in your brain. It will be given a structured. It is a systematized, and then it is evaluated also. Okay, it is evaluated with the already existing knowledge. It will compare, and then it will evaluate whether it is correct or not, what information you get is correct or not, and then with reference to discovery of the general truth. And the Oxford Concise Dictionary, it defines knowledge as familiarity gained by experience, person's range of information. Familiarity gained by experience, person's range of information. So that is why this knowledge, it differs from person to person. It is not the same. The knowledge I have is different from the knowledge you have. So because by virtue of the experience and then by virtue of the range of thinking, so how much I observe and how much I accumulate this information, depending on that, knowledge differs from person to person. So familiarity gained by experience, person's range of information. So that is what how it the Oxford Concise Dictionary, it defines knowledge. And then let us also briefly see what is the definition given by Dr. S.R. Ranganathan. You must be knowing that Dr. S.R. Ranganathan is the father of library science, and he contributed to each and every aspect of the library science and universe of knowledge. Okay, then he says, but Ranganathan is a very complicated person. So he used all complicated words. Okay, he is not very simple person. He is a very great scholar. There is no doubt. But the terminology he uses, it is very difficult to understand. You must be knowing he's the who wrote the book Prolegomena to Library Classification. Prolegomena to Library Classification. Anedi meer ekkadaina vinnaru ee prolegomena ana word manamu it's very rarely used term, isn't it? So manamu ee prolegomena prologue anedi vintam. Prologue, preface ivi vinnam gaani prolegomena to library classification is adi ekkadi nunchi తీసుకొచ్చారు ఎంత difficult words kuda ayina terminology lo kuda vaadtaru ayina. So he defines చూద్దాం ఆయన ఇచ్చిన డెఫినేషన్ ఎలా ఉంది, మన నాలెడ్జ్ కి ఆయన ఎలా డిఫైన్ చేశారంటే, when knower and knowee are brought in relation, the knower knows the knowee and knowledge emerges. He says how the knowledge emerges అంటే when knower and knowee అంటే knower అంటే తెలుసుకునేవాడు ఎవరైతే, who is seeker of the knowledge, and knowee is who already has the knowledge, and it can be an object, it can be a person, anyone. So knower means the person who wants to know the information, and the knowee, that means who already, the object or the person who already has this information. When they are both brought together in relation, then knower knows the knowee and knowledge emerges. So knower, he comes to know from the knowee, and he will acquire the knowledge from the knowee, and then he becomes knowledgeable. So it implies that if we examine this particular definition, we come across three entities. That is three things we can observe. One here, one who knows the subject. Okay, subject which knows. Okay, that is which possess the knowledge. Okay, that is the subject. And the object which is known, and the process of knowing. These are the three things that are hidden in this definition. That is, one is the knower, that means the seeker of knowledge, or the subject who wants to know, who wants to acquire the knowledge, and then the thing that is which is to be known. That is, some knowledge is residing in an object or in a person. So the thing that is to be known, and the process of knowing. How do you come to know? That means the person who knows, he need to communicate the knowledge. Otherwise, it is not possible to know. Or through the senses, by observation, or by listening, by reading. So you have so many ways to acquire this knowledge. Okay. So when the knower and the knowee are brought in relation, knower knows the knowee and knowledge emerges. So though it looks complicated, but it has a lot of meaning. Is it not? So he says there is a knower, that is, who is seeking the information and who wants to becomes knowledgeable. And on the other side, you have a object or a person who has this knowledge, that knowing. And these people are brought together, and then a process, through the process by which the knower knows the knowing. So then knowledge emerges. So this is, in these three entities are involved. One is the knowledge seeker, the other one is the knowledge object, and then the process of knowing. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, let us see what is communication. Okay, we have seen what is information, we have seen what is data, we have seen what is knowledge, and now let us briefly examine what is communication. So communication, we know that not only human beings, but all the beings in this world, they communicate in some sort of the other communication using, they use some kind of communication. Okay, so all the beings, like not only human beings, and all beings like dogs or cats, every other being, it communicates. Okay, it communicates within itself, or you can the human being, he can communicate with fellow human beings also. This the interaction between two or more individuals, it is called as communication. The interaction between two or more individuals, we call it as communication. And it is derived from the word communicare, which means carrying or sharing. So the word communicare, it means that carrying or sharing information. Communication implies exchange of information, ideas, thoughts between individuals by the use of gestures, signs, signals, sounds, impulses, words, symbols, figures, graphs, etc. Okay, communication happens not only through the word of the mouth. అంతే కదా, సపోజ్ నా ముందు ఎవరో ఒక అతను వెళ్తున్నారు, హీఈస్ గోయింగ్ ఆన్, హీఈస్ వాకింగ్. ఓకే, దెన్ I want to call him, so I clap, okay, to attract his attention. Okay, to call him, I will clap. Hearing that sound, he will respond, he will turn back. Okay, so then also it is communication. I am communicating through the gestures. Okay, or signals also, signs. You can use pictures also, like traffic lights we have. So if red light వచ్చిందంటే we stop, and then green light వచ్చిందంటే again we'll proceed. That also is a signal. It is a way of communication. You can use all these methods in communication, not only through the word of mouth or by written communication. You have also different, you can communicate using the gestures, signs, signals, sounds by making sound, and then words by using words, symbols, pictures, graphs, etc. So the act or process of transmission is usually called as communication. That means you are communicating through these different methods. You are transmitting a message. Okay, you are transmitting a message. So it is called as communication. So this communication essentially involves transmission of some message or information. Then it is called as. Now let us also see some of the definitions given for communication. Oxford English Dictionary says imparting, conveying, or exchange of ideas and knowledge, whether by speech, writing, or signs. So, ఇప్పుడు మనం అనుకున్నదే. So, imparting, conveying, or exchange of ideas. Okay, you are imparting a message, or you are conveying a message, or you are exchanging your ideas through by speech, or by talking, or by written communication, or by signs and gestures. So this is the definition which is provided by Oxford English Dictionary: imparting, conveying, or exchange of ideas and knowledge, whether by speech, writing, or signs. Then Shera, information scientist called Shera, he defines communication as: communication is essentially a social phenomena because of its importance to the structure, organization, and behavior of the society, as well as the character of the individual. He says that communication is very important ingredient in the development of the society. So it gives, you can structure of the society, organization of the society, and also behavior of the society is also can be changed through communication, is possible through communication. So far we have tried to define what is information, what is data, and what is knowledge, and the term communication. Now let us see the difference between data and information. What is data and how it is different from. think you can say yourself, you can think and tell. So data becomes information when it is communicated. So when you communicate the data to others, when you exchange this data, when you exchange your ideas or raw data when you convey to others with some meaning, then it becomes information. Okay, so data becomes information when it is communicated. So when data is processed or evaluated, it becomes information. So when you are sharing means, if it has some meaning only, then you will share that data. So when you process the data, you evaluate the data and give some meaning to the data, then it becomes information. Okay. Data does not carry any meaning, whereas information is refined data and is meaningful. So data sometimes forms source of information, since information is obtained by collecting related pieces of data. So you put together all the data and you try to interconnect these facts and try to interpret these facts. Then it becomes, you give some meaning to that processed data, and it becomes information. Okay. Data is usually presented in tabular form, but information is available either in textual form or even tabular form. Okay. In tabular form, you use the data. Okay. So percentage దగ్గర 100%, 60%, 70%, 40%. Those are all figures. Okay. That we call it as data. But when you interpret it, so 60% of the class got more than got first classes. Okay, first class. They qualified it with the distinction. Okay, 20% of the entire MLISc class, they qualified in distinction. They got distinction. So like that becomes information. When you interpret the data, then it becomes information. So if you say, I have made some statements here, turmeric, we all know the turmeric, it can be used for cooking, then it becomes information. You are telling your daughter or son that turmeric, it's very good for, you should use turmeric in all the curries. Then if you say that, then it is information. So turmeric is good for health. That is also information. But turmeric is a good antibiotic. So if you say that turmeric is a good, it has got properties of an antibiotic, then it becomes knowledge. So how it became knowledge? So over the years, you have learned that turmeric, you have used turmeric whenever you have a cold or fever or anything. You must have used this turmeric. People must have used it, and then they got benefited out of that, and then they recognized that this turmeric has got antibiotic properties. So it has got healing properties. So if you, then it becomes knowledge. That is, knowledge is acquired data. Over a period of years, you acquire through experience, and then you have learned that it has got some properties, antibiotic properties or healing properties, then it becomes knowledge. This is a simple, very crude example which I have taken just for your understanding. So information refers to informing or telling. It is a message, it is a signal, a stimulus transmitted through communication, and it evokes a response from the person who is receiving it. That is, when you tell something, the other person will receive it, and then it will trigger his thinking. Okay, if I give some information, it will evoke your thinking, it will trigger your thinking. The person who is receiving it, it acts as a stimulus to the other person who is receiving that information. Okay, so information, it refers to informing, and it's a way of telling also. It is conveying the information from, and then it is a message, it is a signal, it is a stimulus transmitted through communication, and it evokes a responsible from the person who is receiving it. Information is an input to knowledge. Okay, so we earlier also we have discussed that whatever information we gain through our senses, it goes to the brain, and your brain will process that information, and then over a period of time it is turned into knowledge. Okay, information, so we can say that it is an input to knowledge, and while information is perceived through the senses, knowledge is formed through processes in the brain. Okay, information is perceived through the senses, and the knowledge is formed in the brain by processing the information that is received through the senses, sensory organs. So in your book also, they have given the difference between this knowledge and information. So knowledge is systematic, it is organized, whereas information is random and scattered. Okay, it is scattered, it is available in different documents. Whereas knowledge, it resides in your brain, it is structured, and it is more organized. Okay, then knowledge is long lasting and enduring, which has got an enduring significance, whereas information is a timely proposition. So it is transitory. The information which you feel is very relevant today, tomorrow you may not agree to that. Maybe it may lose its relevance. Okay, after some time. So at that particular point of time, you may feel that information is very relevant. Okay, so that means it is transitory. That is, it has got a tentative value. Okay, so and the other difference is knowledge is structured, it is coherent, and it is universal. Okay, once it is proved, and then it is universally accepted, that it becomes knowledge. Okay, so knowledge is universal, it is structured, it is coherent. And then information, it is piecemeal and it is fragmented. So you have to collect the information that is scattered in different sources, and then you have to give it a meaning, and then it becomes when this information is processed in your brain, then it becomes knowledge. Okay, then knowledge can be restructured by input of information. Okay. Knowledge can be restructured by input of information. So if you add information, your knowledge grows. That is, whenever you see something, whenever you acquire information, then your knowledge base, it will be subjected to manipulation. That is, it changes as and when you acquire new information. Then your knowledge, the status of your knowledge changes. It restructures. Okay? And whereas information is only a flow of messages, number of messages constitute information. And another difference between knowledge and information is it is knowledge is identified with truth and then expertise or wisdom. So if one has expertise in a particular field, then we call him as knowledgeable. Is it not? So whom we call an expert? The expert is one who has knowledge in a particular field. ఏమో మీ ఫోటో సెషన్ అయిపోతే మరి మన క్లాస్ సంగతి చూద్దామా? మీరు ఫొటోస్ తర్వాత కూడా తీసుకోవచ్చమ్మా. నేను క్లాస్ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత ఐ గివ్ యూ టైం. కావాలంటే బ్రేక్ ఇస్తాను. బ్రేక్ లంచ్ టైంలో అందరం తీసుకుందాం. నేను కూడా వస్తాను. ప్లీజ్ మీరు కాన్సన్ట్రేట్ ఆన్ ది క్లాస్. మీ పిక్చర్ ఆఫ్ చేయండి, మీ వీడియో ఆఫ్ చేయండి. డిస్టర్బెన్స్ గా ఉంటుంది కదమ్మా. అందరు ఇంతమంది స్టూడెంట్స్ ఉన్నారు. ఎంతమంది లాగిన్ అయ్యారు పార్టిసిపెంట్స్? 57 పార్టిసిపెంట్స్ ఉన్నారు. 57 పార్టిసిపెంట్స్ ని మీరు డిస్టర్బ్ చేస్తున్నారు. మిగతా 56 మందిని మీరు డిస్టర్బ్ చేస్తున్నారు. ప్లీజ్ మీ వీడియో ఆఫ్ చేయండి, మీ మ్యూట్ చేసుకోండి, వినండి. తర్వాత రేపు ఎగ్జామ్ లో మార్కులు రాలేదు మేడం అని నా దగ్గరికి వస్తే మాత్రం ఐ కెనాట్ హెల్ప్ యూ. నేను ఏ విధంగానూ మీకు సాయం చేయలేను. మీరు కష్టపడాలి, నేర్చుకోవాలి అనే ఉద్దేశంతో రావాలి క్లాస్ కి. ఓకే. So if any person expert, we call him knowledgeable because he has some in that particular field through experience, by learning lot of things, he has become an expert, okay, in that particular subject. So through his wisdom, so we associate these expertise or wisdom or learned person to the knowledge. So if a person has knowledge, he is knowledgeable. So then we can associate these terms with learned person or expertise or wisdom. Okay. And information, it refers to evidence. If you have evidence, proof, then we can believe that it is accurate information. We can say that it is accurate. Okay. Or so it is information, it refers to evidence or the results, indications, advice on and others. Other words, we can relate it to information. So knowledge is related to learning, expertise, or wisdom, whereas information is related to evidence, results, advice, indications, such words, and other such words. Okay. So knowledge is restricted to the individual who gains it. That is, whoever gains from the, who has knowledge, then it is limited to that particular individual. We call him as knowledgeable, him or her as knowledgeable. So, but knowledge when shared, it becomes information. So once you share your knowledge to the other person, then it becomes information. So knowledge communicated, it becomes information, and acquisition of information leads to development of knowledge. So they are supplementing each other. So information, when it is shared, it becomes knowledge, and information, when it is processed in your brain, it becomes knowledge. Okay, it is vice versa. Just give me a 1 minute time. I have to attend one important call, and then I'll be back. Okay. Now, so we have seen the difference between knowledge and information also. Now let us see the nature, forms of information, and based on the purpose for which it is used. Okay, there can be technical information. Yes, somebody has raised their hand. Go on. You want to tell something, Ranjit Kumar? Okay, based on the purposes for which it is used, we can categorize information into different types, like technical information. So technical information, usually it is used for research and development, innovation, inventions, and it is mostly required by the scientists, researchers, and students who are pursuing some research programs. Technical information is sought by the scientists, researchers, students. Okay, then commercial information. You have a lot of commercial, a lot of people like marketing people are there, then management, imports, exports. So to whoever companies that want to maximize their profits, they increase their profits, they require information relating to this type of information, that is commercial information. So social information, it concerns about social development, growth of the city, social welfare, what are the schemes of the government for the welfare of the people, and then for the different sections of the society, and then what are the planning going on, and then to improve the overall, to improve the quality of life, whatever information you require, that we call it as social information. And then we have administrative information, like you have different organizations, and then wherein they require certain rules, regulations, and then you have policies and then decisions to which will help the administration to take effective decisions from time to time to implement the plans, and then for smooth functioning of the organizations or institutions, they require this administrative information in the form of these policies, and then regulations, rules, and so on. And then we have occupational informations. That is occupation of citizens. So there are several occupations which people are working. Then work procedures, like what are the procedures of a particular job. And then you have also manuals. Okay, what are the roles and duties that are assigned to different cadres of employees or the people. And then there are different levels of positions. You have clerical, supervisory, managerial, educational, so many roles. So different types of jobs, occupations, they require different procedures. So if you this kind of information that helps the people who are in occupations, that we call it as occupational information. So information is dynamic, that is, it acts as a stimulus, and then it will it will trigger your thinking, and then again you will generate by thinking again on a particular aspect and acting on that particular information, again you will generate information. Whereas knowledge is static, it is like a reservoir of knowledge. We call it as a reservoir of knowledge. That means it is static, it is accumulated, or it accumulates over the years through observation and by the information, by gathering this information. And then characteristics of information. One information scientist, Cleveland, he gave some 7 characteristics of information. These are there in your book also. So మీకు books వచ్చినాయి అనుకుంటాను. All of you have received the books?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, madam.
Okay, maybe the problem is, I will share this PowerPoints to you. So most of the important points, these units I have taken, so it will be of use to you. So, but Kani, you see there is some due to some problems, printing is delayed, and hence we are not able to send you the material on time for this batch. But anyway, you can go. There are a lot of material that are available on the internet also. EPG Pathshala, you know, there is lot of content openly available. You can download that. ఈ టాపిక్స్ అన్ని నోట్ చేసుకోండి. మీరు ఈ క్లాసెస్ లో జరిగే టాపిక్స్ అన్ని నోట్ చేసుకొని అండ్ మీరు యూ కెన్ గో టు ఈపీజీ పాఠశాల. IGNO material is also available. You can download the IGNO material, and in the meantime, we are trying to send the material to you. You will receive it maybe where I have also requested the Director Material Production Branch to take necessary steps to see that material reaches you at the earliest. So we are. I have already placed a request to the director, and hopefully you will get the material very soon. Okay, so in the meantime, I can share you this PPTs also. You can use them.
Ma'am, please share the syllabus copy also.
Syllabus, yes, I will share. I will share the syllabus with you. Okay, I'll say by evening I'll try to share the syllabus with you. Okay, and meeku oka group kuda form chesaru kada. I think Telegram group. I can share the syllabus in that group also. So okay, we'll do that definitely.
Ma'am, I'm not in the Telegram group, ma'am.
Yeah, I will ask Kiran to share.
Also, ma'am.
Yeah, I will ask Kiran to give you the link. A link ఇస్తాము మీకు. మీరు ఆ లింక్ తోటి మీరు you can join that group. Okay?
Please, ma'am.
Okay.
మేడం అసైన్మెంట్స్ పంపించారు కదా క్వశ్చన్స్, అవి ఎప్పటి వరకు సబ్మిట్ మేడం?
అది మీరు 2 అసైన్మెంట్స్ ఒకేసారి సబ్మిట్ చేయండి అమ్మా. ఇక్కడ లెర్నర్ సెంటర్ అని ఉంటుంది యూనివర్సిటీలో. సో వాళ్ళకి సబ్మిట్ చేయాలి మీరు. వాళ్ళు they will decide the last date also. There is no problem. They will accept just I mean 1 month before the exams also. They will accept, I think.
Okay.
There should not be any problem. Okay. So coming back to the lesson, so far what we have discussed the what is information, what is data, what is knowledge, and what is communication, the difference between data and information, and also the difference between knowledge and information. Okay, so now we are talking about the characteristics of information. So Cleveland, he gave some 7 characteristics of information. It is human. Information is human. It is a product of the human brain. How information is produced? It is produced by the human beings, okay, by processing the data in the brain, and then your information is generated. So he says that information is human. Okay, and information is expandable. It spreads very fast. Information spreads it spreads through periodicals, it spreads through books. These are different channels of communication, so through which the information spreads. Television, then you also know that information is doubled. Very soon you will also learn about information explosion, how at a very fast rate that this information is being produced in different subjects, which is leading to a phenomena which is called as information explosion. Okay, so he says the second characteristic of information is it is expandable. The third characteristic of information is it is shareable. You can share this information. So if you share this information, it gets doubled, isn't it? So you will also have that information, and I will also have that information. Okay, and usage, it increases the value of information. So it is sharing of information is very important. It can be shared, and the information, it doubles when it is shared, and usage also increases the value of information. Not only the fourth characteristic, it is compressible. You can compress the information, is it not? So you can repackage the information, you can condense the information. So you must have learned in BLIS lo meer nerchukoni untaru. Preparing abstracts and indexes, you must have come across what is an abstract, what is a summary, what is a, so if you, when you are writing a summary or when you are writing an abstract from 10 pages or 12 pages article ni, you are condensing it to so few paragraphs in while preparing the abstracts. So that is, you are condensing the information. So it is compressible. You can compress the information and put it in different formats also. Okay. So information, it is expandable, it is also compressible. Okay, expandable means it spreads information through different sources, and compressible means you can condense this information and present it in different formats. It can be a summary, it can be an annotation. Annotation, and it is a single sentence remark which you are making just to convey the meaning of that information. You are adding an annotation. It can be an annotation, it can be a summary, it can be an extract, it can be an abstract also. All these are various forms of condensing or compressing the information. And then information, the fifth characteristic of information, that it is transportable. You can carry the information from one place to another. It can be transmitted from one place to another place. So it is transportable. So it is diffusive. It diffuses and it creates, it percolates. The information percolates. That is, for example, a new product has come into the market. So how it will diffuse through the publicity. People try to give it more advertising and publicity. People come to know about that. And it becomes, once it becomes popular, then its sale will be increased. So it diffuses very fast into the, it percolates, that information percolates into the, and diffuses and it creates more information. Okay. And seventh characteristic, it is substitutable. It can be replaced. Okay, it can replace the capital, it can replace the labor or material. So these are the important characteristics of information. If you are asked to write short question, you can expect this one. So 7 characteristics you had, right? Information is human, it is expandable, it is shareable, it is compressible, it is transportable, it diffuses, and it is substitutable. You can substitute this information can be substitutable. Okay. Now, another information scientist, apart from this, he mentioned about 6 characteristics of information. That is, it can be quantitative. Information can be quantitative. It can be counted. How many number of words? What is the word count? What is the page length? How many sentences are there in a paragraph? Like that, you can count, quantify the information also. And then content. Quantity, content. Content means its meaning and value of information is called as content. And then structure. Information has certain structure. You can organize the content into meaningful sentences, and then you can give it a structure. You can say this is the introduction, this is the main body, and then this is the summary, conclusions. Like that, you can have a structure. You can give a structure to them. If you see the articles that are published in journals, it has a structure. Okay, first it starts with, you have a title of that article, and then you have the information about the authors, and then there is one summary or abstract, and then it is followed by introduction, body of the like analysis is there, and then the summary is there. What are the results that are found, and then what are the findings, and then what are the conclusions. So there is a definite structure to the content. So information can have a structure. And then language is very important, like symbols, alphabets, codes. They play a vital role in conveying the correct meaning of this information. So language is very important. And then quality is another characteristic of information. So it should be whether that information it is complete or not. So whether it is accurate or not, how relevant it is to the purpose, and the timeliness of information, all these constitute the quality of information. That is, completeness, whether that information you are giving is complete in all respects or not, and then how accurate is the information you are providing, and how relevant it is to the purpose, whether it is it is serving the purpose or not, and then timeliness of information is also. So if you require the information today, and if I provide you that information after 1 month, it loses its relevance, is it not so? Timeliness of information is also very important. And then the total life span of time in which value can be derived from information. So after some time, some information may become obsolete. Okay, for a particular period of time, that will have a value, and after that, it may lose its value. It may over a period of time, it may lose its importance. So these are the 6 qualities that are of information that are given by Williams. Okay, the 6 parameters of information. What are these? Quantity, that it can be counted. Content, meaning and value of information. Number 3 is structure. Number 4 is language. 5 is quality, and lifespan of that information. So characteristics in the మనం చూసిన 7 ఏంటి? It is human, it is expandable, it is compressible, it is shareable, it is transportable, diffusive, and substitutable. So
అయిపోతే కిందకు వచ్చి
now we also have the other types of information. Conceptual information, maybe some theories, maybe some hypothesis, relationship between the variables. All these terms you come across when you study your research methodology course. That is course 6, you have research methodology. When you study this research methodology course, you will come across these different concepts like theories, hypothesis, variables. These are all the things which you come across. So
నేను నీకు చెప్పానా అల్లదే ఇచ్చేరా నేను బగ్గడవే 10 లోపు అడ్డు మొహం ఎక్క
And then there is empirical information. Empirical information that is gathered through research. Okay, you are going to the field and you are collecting the data. Then it becomes empirical information. Okay, and procedural information, that is for doing some investigation. In the kanukunnam, there is a procedure for doing experiments, or you need a procedure for conducting an experiment or something. So that is procedural information. Okay, step by step, or you are writing a program, so you need a step-by-step flow chart. Okay, so then all that is called as procedural information. Then stimulating information, directive information, policy information. Like this, you have different types of information. So meeku pustakam vachin tarvata okkasari meer chuskondi idi. There are again 2 other types of information mentioned in your course material. Ivi meeku short notes lo kuda vachindi. Sometime edo paper chusta unte dantlo you got what is discursive or non-discursive. Short question వచ్చింది ఇంతకు ముందు. Is discursive information and non-discursive information. There are 2 types of information. So discursive information, it is message conveyed from a systematic body of knowledge. So you have suppose library science, you take library science. We have a systematic body theory on the money. for studying the theory now. So you have several laws are there. You have several a systematic body of knowledge is already existing. So from that you convey a message. Then it is called as discursive information. Okay, it ranges a wide field of study and it proceeds logically and coherently from one topic to the other. Like me course material only. So first unit is nature of information. Second unit you will be studying the information generation cycle. Third unit you will be studying about the information diffusion. Like from one topic to the from basics you learn the more specialized aspects, is it not? So similarly, it proceeds logically and coherently from one topic to the other topic. Then based on logical reasoning, data to interpretation of data. So, and it is a top-down approach. From a top-down approach means it is from general to specific. So if you follow, if the information has these characteristics, then you call it as discursive information. Okay, that means if the information is derived from a systematic body of knowledge and it ranges a wide field of study and it proceeds, logically from one aspect to another aspect, and when it is based on logical reasoning and interpretation of data, and it follows from general to specific, then you call it as discursive information. The opposite of this is non-discursive information. That means it starts from specific to general, and the information that is not discursive, we call it as non-discursive. It follows bottom-up approach. The discursive is top-down. Here it is bottom-up. Okay, and in discursive, there is already a theory from which information is drawn or taken in a systematic way from general to specific. But in non-discursive information is the primary thought that is perceived. For example, you go to a museum. Okay, there are different. It displays. You must have seen the display of different preliminary cups or mugs that are made. Okay, in those days, what are they? How they use the utensils? What utensils they have used? Okay, earthen pots and all that. That is preliminarily they have conceived this. They need a bowl to drink water, to consume water. They are in need of a requirement. So first thought, they have developed that particular utensil. So now we have different shapes of mugs. We have coffee mugs. We have teapots. We have a lot of improved versions have come into existence. But primarily, the thought which has been perceived, that has been developed, or it is created. So that kind of information is non-discursive. It is more creative. Okay, non-discursive information, it can be both qualitative and quantitative. And qualitative, it is expressed in terms of attributes of an entity. That is, you describe an entity, that is qualitative. And quantitative means you can measure the quantity, then it becomes the quantitative. All this is about non-discursive information. Discursive information, it has a systematized body of knowledge, and then it proceeds from general to specific, and it is logically arranged. Okay, that is it follows top-down approach. Discursive information. Non-discursive information is opposite of discursive. That is, it starts from specific to general. So fundamentally the thought which has come across is perceived, that forms the basis for non-discursive information. And then later that basic thought, it will be improved, and a lot of improvements will be made in that. So it is more creative. And this non-discursive information, it can be of two types, qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative means it is expressed in terms of the attributes or the qualities of an entity. And if it is measured and expressed in terms of figures, then it is called a quantitative expression. So all these come under non-discursive information. And this is also one short question which your previous question papers contain. Taxonomy of documents. What is taxonomy? Taxonomy means it is classification of documents. How do you classify the documents into what are the different types of documents you can classify? One is textual document, that is written text, more predominantly your book, or it may be a handwritten, or it may be palm leaves, it can be anything textual. Okay. And the non-textual documents where information is meant to be seen or heard. Okay, like we have our radio, we have our television, the forms you can, which you can see, and the information is passed on or conveyed through the audio visual means. Okay, those are non-textual documents. Then you have iconic documents. You have lot of, if you search the Google also, you have lot of images. You have images, and then maps also. Are there plans, graphs? The architects, they develop these plans, okay, building plans and everything. And then posters, you have paintings, all these come under iconic documents. You can, just by seeing that, you can understand. Okay, map, if you can understand that the location of a particular country or a particular continent and everything, you can get the information through the maps. And these are all iconic documents. We call them as iconic documents. And then you have sound documents, you have audio visual documents, and then you have materials as documents, like documents prepared for computer processing of information. Then mixed documents are also there. So these are the different types of documents you can mention when you are asked about the taxonomy of documents. Don't get confused about this use of terminology. Taxonomy is nothing but classification of documents into different types, okay, based on the content. So I think with this, we have completed your chapter unit 1. Now we will proceed to the other unit, unit 2. Unit 2 is about information generation and information transfer. So far in the unit 1, what all the topics we have discussed? We have seen the how information is defined, what is information, what is data, what is communication, what is knowledge, and then we have seen the difference between information and data. We have seen the difference between information and knowledge, and also we have seen the characteristics of information, is it not? So the 7 characteristics mentioned by Cleveland, and another 5 characteristics by another scientist. And we have seen the characteristics of information, and also we have seen what is discursive information and non-discursive information. And then we have also seen what is the taxonomy of documents. So these are all the topics that are covered in the unit 1. Okay. Now the second lesson is about information generation and information transfer. Information generation and information transfer. So why do we need information? Why do we need information? So information plays a very important role, very vital role, because in the functioning of the society, and it has a crucial role in the productive economy of the society, and then for effective government also, to implement the different schemes of the government and growth, and overall to ensure the well-being of the society, you need information. Okay, at every aspect of our lives, we need information. And especially when you want to, so we take lot of decisions in our day-to-day life. So you need to take lot of decisions. For that, you need information. Without information, if you take a decision, it may not be proper. Okay, so the decision making also, it requires information. And of course, research and development, research is mainly based on the information that you collect based on the data, and you interpret the data and in the light of the facts, and then you come out with certain conclusions or findings, which in turn contribute to the development of the society. So this way, information is very, very important for our day-to-day life, also functioning of our every aspect of functioning of the society. We need information. No, what I'm trying to do is I'm only some of the important points that are mentioned in your course material I have taken, not all the sentence by sentence. It is not possible to teach you in this online classes. So I am trying to give you some important points. Okay. So Melvin Woggett, he identified 4 types of information needs of individuals. What are the different types of information needs? So he identified 4 approaches to information, especially with reference to the research and development activities. Okay, so the one is current approach, second one is everyday approach, third one is exhaustive approach, and fourth one is catching up approach. What are these 4 approaches given by Melvin Woggett? You can remember this name also. So when you appear for your JRF and other things, they may be asking the names of the scientists also who gave these approaches and everything. So it is, you need to remember certain names also. Okay, what are these 4 approaches? Current approach. Current approach means the developments that are taking place in a particular field of research. So in the research, what happens is the researcher who is doing research, he will select a topic. Okay, he will select a topic for his research based on study of the existing literature. The researcher first, before selecting the topic, he goes through the literature, and then he will identify what are the gaps that are existing in the literature, and then ekkada manaki research jaragaledu, ekkada avasaram undi ane danni batti he will select a topic for his or her research. చేసినప్పుడు then he needs lot of information in that while doing this research. He needs a lot of information, what is happening in that particular on that particular topic, what others are doing. So all these things a researcher needs to know. So what are the latest development that are taking place in a particular field of research, that is a researcher would like to know. If the researcher, he is approaching the information system for the latest information that is taking place in a particular field of research, then we call that approach as current approach. అర్థమైందమ్మా? రీసెర్చర్ ఒక పర్టికులర్ ఫీల్డ్ లో ఆ టైంలో ఏమి రీసెర్చ్ జరుగుతోంది, ఇంకా మిగతా రీసెర్చర్స్ ఏమేమి పరిశోధనలు చేస్తున్నారని తెలుసుకోవాలని అంటే దాన్ని మనము కరెంట్ అప్రోచ్ అంటాం. And then the second is everyday approach. Okay, every day we need some kind of information. The scientist, we means I'm referring to the scientist here. Information that is required for day-to-day of the scientist. Specific piece of information or data. They may need a procedure, they may need a method, or they may need some equation. So all this referred to if a scientist requires this kind of information for the day-to-day functioning, then it is called as everyday approach. Then the third approach is exhaustive approach. That means whatever is published on a particular topic, whatever information is produced on a particular topic or on a given subject, if the researcher wants to know exhaustively, he wants to read all the documents, he wants elaborately, he needs that information, then we call it as exhaustive approach. That is, it requires all the relevant information existing in a given subject to determine the current state of the art. Current state of the means what is the present situation. Okay, state of the art situation. If he wants to know about a given subject, then we call it as the exhaustive approach. The fourth approach is catching up approach. That is, occasional need is felt, and then complete picture of the recent developments of a related subject which is outside the area of his interest. For example, there are a lot of interdisciplinary research is going on. Okay, so I suppose some person is doing on digital libraries. Okay, this involves a lot of he should have a lot of knowledge about the digitization also. IT aspects also he should have. What are the rights, that is digital rights management, all these aspects you will be studying in other courses. Okay, so if the researcher needs information about the areas not belonging to his own subject, not only pertaining to his own subject, but also other subject areas of interest also, then it is called as catching up approach. Some peripheral subjects also, maybe there some other interrelated subjects will be there, and the scientist would like to have some idea about what are the developments that are taking place in the related subject of interest, of his interest, then we call it as catching up approach. So what are these four approaches mentioned by Melvin Bogic? One is current approach, where the latest information on a particular field is sought, and everyday approach, that is information, a specific piece of information like data, method, equation, etc. And then exhaustive approach, all the information pertaining to a given subject field. And then catching up approach, the information that is related to the area of interest of the researcher. Okay, so these are the four approaches mentioned by Melvin Bogic. Okay, there is also mention about this creativity and the generation of information. These two are closely connected. Creativity is the ability to present information in a way that has not appeared before. So that is first time you are presenting in a new information, then you are said to be very creative. So it adds to the existing knowledge. And information generation is the result of human thinking, and it is aimed at solutions to problems by processing the available data, and churning of the existing knowledge leads to the generation of new information. So if you thoroughly go through, read the information, apply that information, and then analyze that information, again, it leads to the generation of new information. Then this is another scientist, David Bod, and he explains the creativity. I think how this information is generated. That is 5 aspects he has mentioned. That one is by chance. Okay, that is by you are doing one experiment, and in course of doing an experiment, by luck you come across another result, which may be a new invention. And then analogies. Analogies is similar.
కంటిన్యూస్ కొంతమంది పెయింటర్స్ ఉంది
Okay. So what I'm saying that the unit place is always and this is the secondary digit is here whole is whole double.
Hello, Jyoti, please mute yourself.
Okay, there is some, I got disconnected and then, so there was some interruption in between. So modes of, we were discussing about modes of information generation. So every minute, a lot of information is being generated throughout the globe. And then people are using the information, and then again, they're producing information. So they are creating new information, and the different methods through which information is generated include observation, intuition, research, and innovation. These are the modes through which information is generated. By observation, observation is another one important technique also in research. Through observation also, you can derive a lot of information. Observation results in association of ideas, and this we have already discussed in the beginning of the lesson itself. So through our sensory organs, we accumulate a lot of information, and then this information is processed in the brain, and it is systematized, and then this in turn will generate a new information. And then intuition, we call it a sixth sense. Sixth sense అంటూ ఉంటాం కదా మనకి. నాకు సిక్స్త్ సెన్స్ చెప్తోంది, డోంట్ డూ దిస్, డోంట్ డూ దట్, ఆర్ లేకపోతే మనం ఇలా చేస్తే బాగుంటుంది. మై సిక్స్త్ సెన్స్, దట్ ఈస్ we call it as intuition. So insight, quick and ready insight. So it is the innate capacity of an individual to quickly know about certain truths. Okay. And research, of course, I have told you. So it's a research in turn produces a lot of information, that is investigation or experimentation, which is you in course of this investigation, you collect a lot of data and you interpret this data, and in the light of the already existing theories and laws, and then you come up with new solutions to the problems or practical applications. So this research also generates new information. And then innovation. Innovation is introducing something new. Then you call it as innovations. It can be a new idea, it can be a new device, some device which has come, mobile apps are there now. It is nothing but an innovation. So, or a new method. So, what are the different modes? Through the observation, through intuition, through research, and then through innovation. And then it's also important to see the steps that Ranganathan, Dr. S.R. Ranganathan, in his spiral of development of new subjects, how the subjects are being formed. He has contributed to the growth, which leads to the growth of knowledge, which are there in the spiral of development of new subjects. He says that fundamental research means the research which happens in pure sciences, that is some theory if you are developing, that is called pure sciences, means like you have the biology, and then you have physics, chemistry, all these are pure mathematics. These are all pure sciences. The research that is taking place in pure sciences, we call research. Then applied research. If you are doing research to find a solution to any particular problem, or application-oriented research, which is called as applied research. If you are developing an application for a specific purpose, then it is called application research. And then the third step is pilot project. That means you have collected some data, and you are you want to establish whether the process you have used, the procedure you have used is correct or not. You are going, and small study you will make. You will be doing a pilot study. Okay, it's a mental study to know or to evaluate the progress of your research. So it is called a pilot project. And then the fourth step he mentioned is design of new machinery, new material, new product, and then using the new, and then in the final stage, you will come up with a new product, and that new product will again diffuse in the market and among the people. And once the people start using the product, again they will come across problems like after certain time period.
So what is the must U group 2 minus 1 in the
Fine.
minus 1 plus U group 2 minus 1 plus U group 2 is next to 24 root 42 plus root 42
Noisy.
again root 42 like that they are infinite times there. If it is multiplication means we will go with the formula 42 whole to the power of that formula we will. But here it is not multiplication. That is normal root 42 plus root 42 plus like that it is. Then
So once the new product, you find problems in the new product, then again you take up research to solve this problem. So it is a cyclical process. So this is the spiral of scientific methods, a spiral of information generation or knowledge generation that is mentioned by Dr. S. Ramanathan. So now let us see the information generation cycle. So I said this information generation is a cyclical process. So once the idea or knowledge is conceived, then it is formulated. You acquire, you collect lot of information pertaining to that particular area, and then you process that information. You come up with new information, and then you publish some new results. Okay, after doing an experiment, after doing an investigation, you come up with certain conclusions, and new information is generated. So this is a cyclical, and the new information which is generated is again used by some other user, and which will trigger his thinking, and then he will come up with another new idea, and again he will that idea, when it is implemented, when it is pursued, he will collect it information, and then again he will be coming up with new products or new information. So like this, it is a cyclical process. The users generating this information, the information generated is again used, and again a new information is contributed. So it is we are calling it as a cyclical process. So we call it as a information generation cycle. Then information transfer. Okay, there are certain models which are given in your course material. There are 3 models which are mentioned. One model used by this model is used by the specialists, like information specialists. Example for this is Shannon and Weaver model of communication. And then you have semantic model, and then you have general models. There are 4 general models: research, development, and diffusion model. You have social interaction model, you have problem solver model, and you have linkage model. These 4 models are explained in your course material. So these are very simple. You don't have to in the models it is very simple. Once you get into that research, development, and diffusion, there is a research, basic research is going on. As a result, development takes place, and then your new packaging, production of new knowledge happens, and then this knowledge which is developed, it is diffused or it is disseminated to the user. So this is the model: basic research, applied research, development, and then repackaging that information, and then it is being disseminated. So you call it as the research, development, and diffusion model. And then we have the second model, social interaction model, wherein the form of products or practices are communicated from one individual to another over a period of time within the social system. These concepts are adopted, adapted, or rejected. So like social interaction model, you discuss a topic with each other. Okay. So for example, in a class, the teacher gives some group activity, and somebody will analyze what information needs to be collected. Somebody collects the information, and all of you sit together, discuss, communicate with each other, and then prepare a project. Okay, then it is an example of social interaction model. Okay, so it stresses the relationship of the individuals to the other persons in the society. So they always, there is an interaction between the individuals of the society. So this model is called as social interaction. By interaction between the individuals, you are passing on the information, you are sharing the information, you are transmitting the information. Now, the third model is problem solver model, wherein you perceive a problem, you see here in the picture also, you can see that there is some problem. So, hair and the. So, how to solve that problem? You can use a brush, you can use a comb, you can cut the hair as well. There are three alternatives. You identify the alternatives. So, how to solve this problem? You identify the alternatives, and out of these three, your mind will process the benefits. If I use the brush, there may be hair loss, and if I use the scissors, what will happen? You will be again, you may not look good and all that. So our mind will process all these alternatives, and finally it will choose the best solution, whatever is the best solution. And again, after choosing the solution, so you have to reevaluate whether something is missing, whether you have missed out on some other important alternative. So this is what is called as problem solver model. And then again, the fourth model is linkage model. So it pertains to internal problem solving. And on one hand, you have a resource system, that is information system. On the other hand, you have the user. So this user continuously interacts with the information system, and for information, he will retrieve the information, whatever he identifies his need, and he expresses his need and interacts with the information system, and he gets the information, and after getting the information, he will give feedback to the system. So this is again based on the feedback, the information system gets modified. So this is called as linkage model. So on the one side, you have the information resource system. On the other side, you have the user. So user continuously interacts with the information system, and he identifies his need, he expresses his need, and he gets the required information from the information system. And after using the information, he gives the feedback to the information system. And so that based on the feedback, the system can get modified or evaluated. And then there are another two concepts we will discuss today, and these two concepts we will today's session will be completing. So these other two important concepts. One is obsolescence of information. What is this obsolescence? OBSOLESCENC, obsolescence. మీరు స్పెల్లింగ్ కూడా నేర్చుకోండి. Obsolescence of information అంటే, so it is outdatedness. When information becomes outdated, we call it as obsolete. మనం obsolete అంటాం, obsolete information. So manaki two important revolutions that have taken place in especially with reference to the materials, documents. That is, one is printing revolution, that John Gutenberg, he invented the printing in around 1450s. So when printing emerged, antamundu man pushtakalu chadavada rayalanunna kuda, it used to take very lot of time. People used to come and sit in the libraries, and to reproduce one document, it used to take very long time, years it used to take. So, but gradually, after printing has developed, lot of material have become available to many people. It is accessible to several people are now able to read, write, and then get education. So, and The second revolution that took place is the electronic revolution, that is internet revolution. Then we have a lot of gadgets are available to us now where information can be shared. Platforms like World Wide Web is there. And then we have interactivity also, it is now possible. So these are the two important revolutions which have taken place in the information field, in the field of information. So now we are talking about obsolescence. Obsolescence, it refers to the outdatedness of information, the information which becomes irrelevant with the passage of time. Some information, it may not be useful any longer. So such kind of information, we call it as obsolescent, outdated information. It is the slow reduction over time. The utility of some information is reduced over a period of time. So what are the reasons for this obsolescence? One is information is valid, but it is incorporated into later work. We call it as technology evolution. And then information is valid, but it is superseded. It is taken over by another invention. That is, we call it as technology revolution. Previously, we used to have floppies and that CDs, now DVDs, but we are no longer using those technology. Now we have far superior technologies. We have a hard disk, we have pen drives, and then so other storage devices. Then information is still valid, but it is now in a field of declining. The value of that field is gradually decreasing. Now, traditionally, we have classification systems, colon classification is there. So nowadays, after computerization, the value for this classification is gradually diminishing. So several new systems have come. So cataloging, we have mark cataloging, machine readable cataloging, and other systems which are coming. So the traditional classification cataloging, they are losing their importance in the present day context. Like this information, after a particular point of time, the value of that information declines, so it becomes obsolete. So our information is no longer valid. That is where that information is totally not valid. So these are some of the reasons for obsolescence. And then how do you assess the obsolescence? By referring to the citations and usage. So these are the various methods. And then information explosion is outburst of information, a production of information in multiple formats. And then every 2-3 years, the information is being doubled. So this causes lot of it has a lot of benefits. At the same time, it has a lot of difficulties also. That is where we, the librarians, we come into the picture. We can we can save the time of the scientists by taking the searching job and then providing the required information to the people, users, or the researchers who need that information. So I think with this, we have now, it is already 12:30. Other resource persons may be waiting for the class. So I think tomorrow we will discuss the other chapters. So you please go home and read whatever we have said today, so that you will not forget. Okay. Thank you.
Ma'am, please provide the syllabus copy.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Madam,
Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Welcome. You're
మేడం
you,
యూట్యూబ్
ma'am.
లింక్స్ అని పంపించారు కదా, యూట్యూబ్ లింక్స్ లో కూడా మళ్ళీ క్లాస్ మళ్ళీ వినొచ్చా మేడం తర్వాత?
వినొచ్చమ్మా.
ఓకే మేడం.
ఓకే అమ్మా, బాయ్.
Bye-bye.
So log out
PPT
and
in a
join
Telegram
again
group.
for your new and for your next resource person. He will join. You can, I think, I don't know, you have to log out and log in again using the other link. Okay.
Share this PPT in WhatsApp and Telegram group.
Yes. I will share the PPTs. No problem.
And also a scanned copy of syllabus.
Yes. I will do that.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.